guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be about how to blend your eyeshadow. This is something people struggle with so much, and I've gotten a couple of requests to do it, and I think it is like the most necessary video because blending your eyeshadow can make or break your makeup look, honestly. And if your eyeshadow isn't blended, you're just not going to look as put together. It's not going to look as great. If your eyeshadow is blended to the nines, then people are going to be like, dang girl, what are you doing? How'd you do that? Your makeup looks flawless. And I want to show you guys how to do that. It's super easy. I do think the tools make a difference, and I use mostly Morphe brushes and because I think they're so affordable for such a great quality, and they're not very expensive at all. They're just little, blending brushes. They're probably like $4 to $6 a piece. Not bad at all, right? So if you guys want to know how I got like this eyeshadow look, how I taught you guys how to blend, I showed you how I did this entire thing, explained it step by step, how to hold your brush, how to blend, do everything like that, then please keep watching. But before you do, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Also, follow me on my social medias. I'm on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of the above. Facebook, I'm just obviously Emily Freybler, and then the others, I'm Emily_Freybler, but it's always linked down below so you guys can find me any time of the day. So yes, let's get started with this video because it's crucial. You need your eyeshadow to be blended to the nines. Alright guys, before we get started at all, we need to make sure to prime our eyes. I am using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus eyeshadow primer. So I'm just taking a little tiny bit of this, just dotting it on each eye, and then I'm just blending it in. Make sure you only get it on your eye because this stuff is like super glue for your eyeshadow. I love this stuff. You could also use concealer, whatever you want as your eyeshadow primer. Alright, so this is probably one of the most important parts, and the parts that people always forget, and this is why their eyeshadow doesn't blend. Make sure after you put down concealer or you put down a primer or something, set your eyelids, please, because it's going to be tacky, and you don't want that because your brush and the eyeshadow is going to skip, and it's going to be patchy, and it's not going to be good. So I'm just using this Soap & Glory Kick-Ass Instant Retouch Powder, and all I'm doing is setting that area. It's pretty much like you're setting your face, your under eyes, whatever you usually set. So now, once we are set, we're going to take our first blending brush. I'm going to use the Morphe M441. I definitely believe that you need good brushes to get a good blended eyeshadow look. I'm going to tell you every single brush I use and why I use it, because that is a big part of how your eyeshadow blends. I'm going to be using this Tarteist Pro eyeshadow palette. I talked about in my review how I think this is the perfect beginner's palette. Everything is laid out in these rows. You have your highlight shade, your transition, your crease shade, and then like a deepening shade. So I'm going to use that same method. First, let me talk about what a transition shade is. This is a shade you're going to lay down in your crease and a little bit above your crease to help every other eyeshadow blend, and it's just going to make everything very seamless. So I'm going to use Innocent, which is this nice light brown shade, and I'm just going to take some on my brush, get it all over the tip of it like this, and then all I'm going to do is tap off the excess. You want to do this so that you don't get too much product onto the lid at one time. That's another problem with blending a lot of times, because people put too much product down and then it's really hard to blend and you have to work at it. So go small amounts at a time. All I'm doing is lightly putting it into the crease. You want a very light touch. So I'm holding my brush at the end. Can you see this? At the end, and lightly sweeping back and forth, and then I'll go in circular motions. Circle, circle, circle. You see there's like hardly any color, right? That's what a transition color should be, but I'm going to pick up a little bit more on my brush, knock off the excess, and then sweep it into my crease again. So I'll go like this. I'll go windshield wiper is what a lot of people call it. And then I'll also circle it. The best advice I can give you is, one, work with little product at a time, and two, be very light-handed with your brush, because if you're pushing too hard, the product's not gonna like move the way you want it. You want it to just be little feathery strokes, like you're barely touching your eye, and it's going to blend, I promise. Today I'm doing my eyeshadow before my base makeup, like all my foundation and everything, because there can be fallout. So if you like think you're doing a more dramatic eye or something like that, you could have fallout. So it just means there's little tiny pieces of eyeshadow that fall down here, and this is going to make sure that afterwards you don't get that stuff on your foundation. You can brush it off most of the time, but for this look I was just gonna put my foundation on afterwards. Now we're going into the shade Whimsy right here. This is going to be our like crease shade, if you want to call it that. So now I'm going on a different brush. This is the M433. It's just a little bit shorter, and it's also skinnier as well. This is going to help it go into the crease more and not be so like blown out. It's still going to blend really, really well, but it's going to be more concentrated into the crease of your eye. I'm going to take Whimsy now and just take it kind of like exactly how you did before. Get it over it and knock off the excess. We're just going to find our crease, so put it in the crease and lightly sweep it from the outer part here to the inner. So you're just doing windshield wiper motions back and forth, and then you can start circling. So I'm concentrating now in the corner of my eye and just circling little things. Make sure your pressure is very light again, and slowly bring it into the inner corner. You want the darkest part to be on the outer corner because it's gonna make sure your eyes don't look super close together. If you have a lot of darkness in here, it can almost make your eyes look close together. So I put the most product here, and once I start blending more, there's less product on my brush, I start sweeping it to the inner corner to about here, so like 3/4 of the way. And then if you think, oh, there's a little bit of a harsh line here, don't put any more product on the M441. Just go back in it and lightly go back and forth windshield wiper motions to blend that area. You can do little teeny tiny circles as well. Just try not to get it all the way up to your brow bone because you want your highlight shade to be up there. Now I'm going to switch to another brush. I'm actually going to use this Real Techniques brush. It came in a set of like 4 different ones. It's like a blending brush, but it's very skinny. And I like this one because it's more concentrated into the crease than this one. It's just a little bit skinnier and it doesn't fan out as much. So this one that I'm going to put down is this brown shade here. It is called Smoked, and I'm just going to take the tiniest amount on my brush. Seriously, this stuff is so pigmented, and I'm just going to, you know, dust it off a lot. And then all I'm going to do is pretty much like the last one we did, but put it lower down, not as high up. So put it in your crease still. See, find where your crease is, and just don't put it up as high. So just put it here and lightly fan it in to your crease. See, if a little bit of the color is too much covered up or whatever, you can take a little bit more of Innocent on the M441 and just blend out the edges so you get a little bit more of that orangey on the brown. I do have kind of hooded lids, if you can see, so I usually have to bring my shadow up higher than a lot of people. And then another thing you could do is take another clean blending brush. This is the E22 from Morphe. Mine are old. This one's old, but I'm pretty sure they still have it in the new version, if that makes sense. And I just blend the edges out. This is just going to make sure it's really blended, but the color doesn't go too high. It's more diffused and everything like that. Okay, for the final part, we're just going to put Ethereal, this shade right here, on the lid right now. So I'm just going to take this BH Cosmetics. This is the 102. Then I'm going to take some setting spray, Glow Mist from, was it Pixie? And I'm just going to take some of Ethereal on my brush, and then I'm going to spray my brush. This is just going to make it more metallic, and it's going to stick to our eye better. So all I'm doing is placing it, just press it, and then you can move it back and forth into the inner corner. And I kind of stretch my eye. You probably shouldn't because it can cause wrinkles and stuff, but you do what you gotta do to get the look, right? And I'm using the setting spray not because it's not pigmented, but because it makes it more intense. It's not that these shadows aren't pigmented, because they really, really are. Okay, now can you see how there's like a harsh line right here and here? We're going to take the brush that we used for the brown and just dip it in like one little tiny time. And you're just going to take it and you're going to feather the edges very slowly. You're just going to blend. Little teeny tiny motions. Do you see how that one's more blended than this one? I hope you can. And then all I'm doing now is just cleaning up any fallout that I had. Okay, right now I'm going to do the rest of like my face makeup, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do the lower lash line. Okay, now the rest of my makeup is done. We're just going to finish off the eyes. So obviously going back into my Tarteist Pro palette. For the lower lash line, when I'm making a look, I usually just stick to the same colors that I did on the top. So first we're going to go into Innocent. And I'm going to take the E18. This again is an Elite collection brush, and they have a new Elite line at Morphe. It should be the same, but just like a brown tip instead of white. So all you're gonna do is take it on the lower lash line and just smudge it. You see this? Just seriously, all you're doing is smudging it back and forth. No circular motions down here because you want to keep it pretty close. The E18 is seriously going to do all the work for you. It's just going to blend so nicely. And this is practically like our transition shade, but for the lower lash line. This is just going to help everything blend when we put a darker shade down. So I'm going to skip the shade Wimpy, or no, not Wimpy. Whimsy, and go right into Smoked, which is the brown one. And I'm going to take the M432. It's just this flat top brush. It's super flat here, and it's perfect for just placing product along the lower lash line to then smudge out. So we're going to take Smoked on there. Again, this is really pigmented, so knock it off of the brush. And I'm just going to go as close to the lower lash line as I can without getting it into my waterline. And I'm taking it about halfway in because I don't want it to close off my eyes. I want it to be nice and open on the inner corner. And then again, I'm going to take the E18, dip it into Innocent a little bit, but tap off the excess. And then you're just going to blend the edges and seriously just back and forth in little motions. So here's when I just place it there, and here's when I blend it out. There's a big difference. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it just looks so much more polished and put together than just like placing it there. So now I'm just going to highlight the inner corner. I'm not going to do it from this palette because there's not a great like inner corner highlight shade that's shimmery, and I want a shimmery one. So I'm going to take the Kathleen Lights palette and just take this light shade here called Nightlight, and just take it on my E36. You need this to highlight your inner corner and brow bone. It is such a tiny, tiny brush, and it's perfect for detail work. I love it so much. This is so pigmented as well, so I'm just going to place it in the inner corner there. And then also under the brow bone, this is just gonna lift your brow, make it look higher. What I do, honestly, is I take my finger and I just blend it so it isn't so shimmery. I don't want it to be like the star of the show, you know? All right, now I'm just gonna put on mascara and I will be right back. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful to see, you know, how I blend out all of my eyeshadow. You can do this technique with any single look, any single colors that you use. Like I said, I love this palette so much because it is laid out in this way. This can be your highlight. So instead of the shimmery color, you can use this color as a matte highlight in the inner corner and the brow bone. This one is your transition shade. This one is a little bit darker, and so that it would be in your crease. And then this is just to deepen up the crease even more. And then this can be your lid shade. So you can do that with any single color you want. It's the same technique and it will work anytime. You can do a different like technique. You can put darkness on the outer and inner corner, do a halo eye, and do a pop of color in the middle, anything you want. This is just showing you guys how to blend and make it really flawless. Like I said, I do think the brushes make a huge difference, and Morphe brushes have such like inexpensive brushes for such high quality. No, obviously this is not sponsored. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. I just really love their stuff, and I think it is so good for such an affordable price. It's amazing. So yeah, so I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and if you guys want any other how-to type of videos that you guys are curious about, you don't know how to do something and you think I do, then please let me know, and I will be happy to do those for you, because I know when I started out in makeup and everything, I just watched a bunch of YouTube videos of how to do stuff. Thank you again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you guys in a video very, very soon. Bye!